that each player has. So basically, at any given moment, you will have all the information that you need, as well as you can see the golden 4 statue there. Every time a boss dies, one of those will be grayed out.
Oh, looks like we're going. And yeah, like I was saying, big shout out to Cross Product, big shout out to Fuzda, big shout out to everybody who spent time working on this randomizer and getting it to where it is now. It's put a lot of enjoyment for me, and I'm sure for everybody else.
Absolutely.
So what do you think our first item's going to be?
Well, mathematically speaking, I usually guess an E-Tank. As everybody who's been watching these is aware, the newest version of the randomizer used for this tournament basically requires Morphing Ball to be one of the first 2 items.
That is correct.
Yeah, so sometimes we get it in its vanilla spot, and if not, it'll be in the ceiling, but usually I just guess an E-Tank.
Morphing Ball first item. All right. Next item, it's going to be an X-ray scope.
Ooh, early X-ray, huh? OP.
So broken. Just the super clean execution. The super pickup there is very nice. It basically means you don't need to check the mother brain cage or the left item. Out of, is it Construction Zone, I think is the name of the room?
I believe so.
E-Tank.
What do I win, Menashne?
You win all of the internets. I'll give you 5 of them later.
Thank you.
So, an interesting thing is, like, I feel like in 90% of the randomizer seeds that we see, that item on the right side of the room that they're currently in is a power bomb.
Okay, Zo's now opting to grab that item you were talking about, Menashne.
Yeah, he is going over there, which is a little interesting because he already has super missiles, so I'm not sure what he was looking for. Oh, that's why.
Oh, interesting. Okay, Zosmaster is choosing to bypass going up the elevator, and he's going to go straight to Green Hills here. We'll see, what he chooses to do, and Rumble went up, so we'll find out if Zos skipping any of those items will, have any impact on the game shortly.
That's very interesting. This is not something that we see very frequently at all, but if he is planning to go to an early wreck ship, I believe this is a more efficient path.
Yeah, again, like we'll just kind of have to wait and see what he chooses to do. The only way that this could be potentially like kind of game changing is if, for example, he might have accidentally skipped over like Speed Booster, if that's one of the items, and now he can't get the item under charge. But those are very specific circumstances.
Yeah, exactly. So here we should be seeing him do a Wavegate glitch. Very, very interesting choice, though.
Ooh. Did you see what Rumble just did?
I did not, actually.
Rumble decided to not check Bomb's Rezo item.
Oh boy, that's risky because that can be. I mean, it's random. It could be anything. And he currently is missing like all progression items, so I'm not sure what inspired him to make that decision.
Well, here's one thing I will say. I've noticed, obviously, when we're in chat or we're making commentary, it's easy to kind of make guesses about what players are doing or maybe think that they made a mistake or something like that. But Rumble, I spoke with him before this matchup, and, he's aware that he's playing against arguably the greatest player on the planet. And he basically, he told me he was going to have to take some risks. So maybe he's trying to just guess that might be nothing and try to skip it.
I totally understand that. I did the same thing against Fuzda. It was just like, there are things that can't be risked. I just got to go.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm only going to win this if I get lucky.
Yeah, I can completely understand that mentality. So
yeah.
I'll basically be employing that same mentality when I have my next race. So understandable.
Yeah, sometimes that's what you got to do. I mean, like whenever you're up against somebody that beats you by 15 minutes in every category, it's a pretty big barrier to be up against.
So far, what we've seen is we obviously Zoast found Spring Ball. I would assume that Rumble will, go find that in a moment. But our only progression item so far has been Grapple, which is really interesting. I think Grapple is actually a pretty useful item, not only for progression, but for certain farming situations like in Lower Norfair and whatnot. So we'll see what Zoast elects to do it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love having Grapple for farming because I frequently find myself down in Lower Norfair on the way to Ridley, and I do not have 30 supers.
Oh yeah, obligatory. My apologies. I forgot the Spring Ball was the best item in the game outside of Hydro Baits.
Does put Zoast in go mode, so
exactly.
No problem with the mock with Spring Ball on. Or did he turn it off?
I'm not sure. But Menachne, the more I think about it, it's hard to get inside the mind of the runners because you never know what kind of choices they're going to choose to make. But I think you might be right, man. I think Zoast might have made that choice earlier with the direct intention to head back up and grab all the items that he had missed and go immediately to wreck ship. I think that's something we might see.
I think it's a good call. I mean, like if that's the path you're taking, I think that's kind of what you're committing to. I guess he could potentially fall down red tower instead. I don't know, but at that point, I feel like going the other route is superior because it does give you those 3 additional items that could be speed booster that would open up waterway for you.
Yeah, and another thing that I've never even thought of before is that now, especially without screw attack, which you rarely get this early, Zoast does have the ability to go ahead and check Gauntlet if you really wanted to. And it's very efficient, so that's an interesting choice. I wonder if he'll go up there or not.
I wonder if Zoast has the ultra rando strats now. Maybe this is the optimal path.
Yeah, I bet after today we start seeing more people do this route here.
Mm-hmm. I mean, but with Zoast at 400 HP, 10 missiles, this is more than what he'd have in a low percent ice run against Fantoon. So,
by the way, we do not know yet. What is it, BT?
Let's find out. It's a mystery. It's an E-Tank, right?
that was a big build-up for a small payoff.
It'll be interesting to see if he does check Gauntlet here. I honestly don't know if we're going to see it or not. Very interesting path.
I think the clear answer here is that Zoast just wanted to avoid having to do Alcatraz, so that's why he took that route, so he could powerbomb his way out.
That's it. He struggles with it sometimes.
Okay, he's opting not to check Gauntlet, so it looks like he's probably just going to head over direct ship from here. We'll see if he makes a deviation, but I would be surprised at this point if he did that.
Yeah, I don't think that's expected. He does have grapple, so wreck ship entry is easy. I think Zoast chose this path so that he could get an early high five with Rumble. I think that was the entire purpose of it. So
Rumble picked up bombs, I believe, at Spacer. So that's actually, these randomizers can be pretty challenging, especially when you're not used to them. And you get so accustomed to having bombs so early that not having them can sometimes be kind of difficult. So him having that really frees up a lot of things. Of course, in theory, though, he shouldn't have had too much trouble anyway, because already having 15 power bombs this early makes things a lot easier.
Yeah, you've got an extremely low percent chance to soft lock at that point.
But there are still plenty of, examples or spaces that I could think of where using a regular bomb would still be more efficient and kind of faster than a power bomb. So at least that's good.
Oh, yes. Regular bombs save quite a bit of time. They also enable you to do things like IBJ in the event that you want to go check screw attack item and you don't have, space jump.
Exactly.
So they're a great item to pick up early on.
think it goes without saying that Zoast is well versed in the Doppler method, so I do not expect this Phantoon fight to give him much trouble at all.
It's a very nice Doppler. Very, very nice Doppler.
Another thing that is difficult that he's doing a great job with, and I guess, obviously he's used to it because he runs new route and low % ice and whatnot, but going to Phantoon with only 10 missiles can be kind of challenging in terms of how you manage your Dopplering, but Zoast did an excellent job there.
Wow, Rumble finding Plasma at the same time.
Ooh, wow. So the interesting thing about their pathing, like, we don't know what's going to happen, but let's talk in theory for a moment. Let's imagine that in the rare case that the wreck ship reserve is actually like Gravity or Varia. That would mean that Zoast would be unable to pick it up unless one of the next two items is Speed Booster. So if something like that occurred, it might give a slight edge to Rumble in terms of, choice of path.
Yeah, it could be any of the 3 items, because he could check Gravity and go back into the room and grab it if Gravity ended up being Speed.
Ooh, Charge.
Charge and High Jump. Those are both fantastic items. Yeah, I mean, the ideal scenario right now is Zoast is looking for a suit, and Rumble is hoping that there is not a suit in Wreck Ship. That's kind of the path that they're on right now.
And oh baby, I know that Zoast got Charged, but Rumble picking up the greatest item in the game, High Jump Boots. Congratulations to him.
High Jump Boots are such a high quality of life improvement. They are phenomenal to have. Oh, we can see a Spring Ball jump here from Zoast. It looked like a late pause, though. Yeah.
Oh, is he using the Spring Ball jump here? I guess that's his only method of getting in right now without any other items.
That is the only choice he had. Technically, he could have also done a Powerbomb jump there, but that's like a frame-perfect Powerbomb jump.
Oh, I didn't even know you could do that.
Yeah, you can Sponge Bath with a Powerbomb. I think it's actually pixel perfect. You have to lay it at a very specific height, and it is very hard. The bomb jump isn't terrible, but the power bomb jump is much harder, in my opinion. Okay,
so now Zoast picking up one of those very key items. As we've seen from Sephi and some other runners, it is actually possible to get to Batwoon without Ice Beam or Speed. I think you have to do like a Crystal Flash clip or something like that, but it's very difficult and unlikely to pull off. So picking up Ice Beam now gives Zoast one of those items that basically allows him to get through Meridia.
And right there we see Zoast doing a crouch jump down grab to get through that room. That's actually the only way you can escape that room if you do not have high jump or gravity, one of those 2 items. Looks like we're seeing Rumble possibly go back to check X-ray location.
Probably that, and my assumption would be that he would go up to Wreck Ship afterwards. It looks like he's trying to avoid doing a hell run, and I don't blame him at all. Hell runs can work, but sometimes if you don't execute super well, or if you don't, find the items you need quickly, they can actually eat up a ton of time.
Yeah, I've definitely lost a lot of time doing hell runs that were very fruitless.
Plus, if you look at his E-Tank situation, he only has 2 and 1 reserve, I believe.
I'm not sure if it's 1 or 2 reserves. It's not very many, though. Oh, wow, that's interesting. So we're down to 1 item left.
Ooh, Rumble. Sorry, Minashna, he just almost died right there.
I see that. Oh, man. He is in one-shot territory. He needs to play it very safe. He can CF.
Yeah, he can Crystal Flash. Also... Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, I think, was it a reserve at the Wreck Ship Reserve for Zoast?
It was.
So that's actually very fortunate.
I'm a little surprised he didn't use that power bomb that he just laid to do his Crystal Flash.
Maybe he thinks that he can get out. Let's find. No, here he goes.
Oh, he's gonna do it. Yeah. So I mean, oh, he didn't. Crystal Flash can be a hard trick if you don't get all your inputs right. Okay, there it is. Good. It makes me feel much better. He probably just didn't think about it, which I mean, these randomizer races can be extremely nerve-wracking.
Oh my goodness.
That's a big fine. That's a really big fine.
Gravity. Don't often see that. Obligatory, is this even randomized?
Vanilla seed is vanilla.
So it's going to be interesting to see now if Zoast, again, I have no idea how he will choose to path. And I'd also like to point out that predicting the pathing of someone like Zoast, who has such an immense skill in the game, can be a little bit more difficult than maybe some of the other players, because he's just simply able to do things that, a lot of players can't. I'm curious to see if he elects to immediately go to Meridia here.
What's his counter? He could kill Dragon. He could kill Batoon. We could see a Meridia here. It's probably fairly likely, I would think. I don't expect to see him do hell runs from here.
That's what I was thinking too.
The only problem with Meridia right now is that he's kind of pigeonholing himself into checking a lot of items that you would normally attempt to avoid checking.
True.
So it's the only reason I think we might not see him do that. But
plus, I'm not saying that he wouldn't be able to do it, but having high jump boots or space jump or something like that would clearly make it a lot faster and easier. So I wonder if he would just elect to do Kraid first, just to check those two items. So we'll see.
Yeah, that wouldn't surprise me at all, since he hasn't been down there. I don't think he'll go down to Upper Norfair, but he probably will check Kraid at least, because that's 2 free locations.
So now Zoast picking up the Wave Beam, now has Charge Ice Wave, so not too bad in terms of a combo, potentially to kill Mother Brain or whatnot.
I think that's is that 220 damage, maybe?
Yeah, it's somewhere in that ballpark. I can't remember off the top of my head.
Mm-hmm. It's definitely a number that you can kill Mother Brain with, no problem.
True, but I just remembered that he is almost guaranteed to pick up Plasma. Wasn't Plasma after Kraid, I believe?
It was, so he does have pretty much full beam on Kraid.
Yeah, he'll make great use of that. Rumble now making his way down to Fanny Pack.
Yeah, we should see Rumble also find both Charge and Ice. They weren't in super secret locations.
Exactly.
Which could have been to Rumble's benefit if they were. If Zoast is on a plan of not checking as many majors, but looks like he's checking all of them right now.
We'll have to wait and see. I mean, again, I would assume that Rumble would elect, given what he's about to find, I would assume that he would elect to check every item in Wreck Ship, which would eventually lead to Gravity at Gravity. But, you never know. Occasionally, some people, when they want to take risks or they're playing a faster runner, they might just say, hey, man, I hope that nothing's over there. I'm going to try to save some time. We'll see.
It's very expensive to go check Gravity. That's probably like, what, a 5 or 6 minute investment, I would say. And we've seen, I know there was a run in, I think, round 1 of the tournament where a runner elected to skip it, and it had Varia.
Yeah.
Set him back a very long time.
And again, it's almost kind of like if Rumble, and this is all just in theory, if Rumble elected to do that, obviously we all know that would be tough for him to overcome, but at the same time, I wouldn't completely blame him for trying, you know what I mean?
No, not at all. I mean, like it's a great idea. Those gambles are like I said necessary whenever you're going up against a runner who is is that much better than you. You just kind of have to hope that it's not there. I mean, that's the gamble you're playing.
And Zoast at this point now in full power mode here, and he's about to pick up high jump boots. And I keep making the joke about high jump boots being the best item in the game. Clearly, it's not a mandatory item in these randos, but I think it's one of those items that, you know, I keep calling it, you don't know what you got till it's gone. I think a lot of people undervalue high jump boots at first until they get into later segments of the game without them, and it becomes way more difficult.
Having to do even like escape without high jump boots, you just realize how big of a difference it really is.
Yes, indeed. It allows you to make up a lot of time that you wouldn't otherwise.
Mm-hmm. Like I feel like it doubles your jump height nearly, which that might actually be what it does.
Okay, it looks like Zoast is heading to Meridia.
Yeah, well, we'll see what he chooses to check. I definitely think he's going to check Mama Turtle. It's pretty cheap, but I don't know if we'll see him maybe save and check the reserve tank, or we'll see if maybe he decides to check that on the way out, since ideally, I mean, I guess he has to go to Lower Norfair from here. A Varia at Shock Tool would be sweet. Speed booster, that's big.
Oh boy. So at this point, Varia either is going to be in Meridia or in one of the upper Norfair segments that we haven't seen yet. So it'll be kind of interesting to see that if it's in like a, you know, one of those places along the way, or if it's just, you know, in a random spot like Shack Tool, and then what the speakers choose to do with it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. It's going to be interesting. I expect he's just going to go up to Batoon, but yeah, exactly. We'll see. Maybe Zoast wants to RBO?
Well, you know, doing RBO in randomizers is much more challenging. You know, it's kind of funny. You would think, like, in certain scenarios, things are easier in randos than they would be in, like, normal runs. Mm-hmm. But in that case, doing an RBO run in a rando is really difficult because you're not guaranteed to find those E-tanks where you normally would. You know what I mean? To refill.
Exactly. And those are very important in RBO. Oh, wow.
There it is. Okay, so at this point, okay, again, it's all about execution, but, and I don't want to put, I'm not obviously putting any pressure on Zoast here, but it would not surprise me if we saw potentially our fastest time in the tournament so far with the way this seed is played out. Zoast is basically in full-on go mode at this point and could very, very quickly knock out the last two bosses.
He does not need to pick up another item at all. He has everything you could want or need. The only thing he's missing is Space Jump, but I don't think that's worthwhile to pick up. We'll see what he decides, but
yeah,
he's in full go mode basically.
And just for the record, I don't know if everybody, you know, has heard this, and I'm sure there's been, you know, different times by different players, but I was doing a little bit of practice with Zoast past week, and then during one of those sections, he ran a 43, and I think he didn't get the baby skip. It could have been a 42. So even though there have been technically a few times that are faster than that, that's an incredibly fast time for a randomizer.
I think I caught that run, and it was completely insane. Yeah, we see Rumble taking a safety save here. He is at 40 health, which is pretty low. Zeus trying for a spike suit. It's, I think 3 frame perfect inputs in order to get that trick. Yeah, he's done checking items. Zeus is out of here.
And Zoast is, yeah, he's skipping that item, and I don't blame him. I mean, technically speaking, okay, if it was Space Jump or Screw Attack, either of those items would pretty much almost guaranteed save him a little bit of time over the course of the rest of the run, but they're definitely not mandatory. He's so well versed in all the other categories that I can't imagine Lower Norfair giving him too many problems.
Yeah, I'm sure Zoast is pretty good at math, and he's just not valuing at them at like plus expected value to check.
Exactly.
Basically, he doesn't think he's going to net save time because there's like what, probably 18 other items that it could be other than Space Jump and or Screw Attack, and so the like minute that he would save isn't worth the like 3 or 4% chance that it is the item that he's looking for. Sorry, it's like a 5.5% chance. But
yeah, but that is a great point that you just made, and you know, it's actually really cool to see players in the moment be thinking about things like that. It's so different. Like, one thing I love about these randomizers in this tournament is that, yes, your speed running skill and your challenge running skill are on display, but you also get macro decisions that you don't normally get to make in many of the other categories. So it's cool to see guys adjust.
Yeah, that is a super cool thing about this. Every single time it's something different, even if it's just a little different.
Rumble now making his way down bowling, and it looks like, you know, he found the reserve tank, so he'll be skipping that, and he's going to be very happy to see Gravity Suit. He gets to grab.
Definitely. And since he's already been down into Upper Norfair, I expect to see him. He's just going to go straight into Meridian, no questions asked.
Yeah, my assumption he just goes to what, Frogway, and then straight down to Ridley.
Mm-hmm. For Zoast?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't expect a Crocodile check. Yeah, there's.
Well, I mean, he's not even going to
care.
check high jump boots, yeah, or ice.
He doesn't care. There's nothing of value to him at this point. He is content. And he'll have no problem executing Mother Brain with the 500 energy or 499 energy that he has. He's used to doing it with, what, less than that in low percent ice with a worse weapon. So
Yeah.
He sees himself as home free.
In fact, I could be wrong about this, but in terms of the major categories, I think the only one that he runs, like, you know, or has ran recently that would include what I refer to as like old route beam, you know, you got charge, ice, wave, and plasma together. I think the only one that he's done lately is RBO, because normally in, you know, his any percent, his new route, you never get plasma, you don't get it in low percent ice, and I guess you get it in hundo, but I haven't seen him run that in a while. So he's actually probably more powerful right now in terms of beam than he is in almost any run that he does.
Yep.
Looks like he missed the gravity jump.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Did he miss the gravity jump and decide that he should lava dive instead?
And now we have, you know, everybody has a different opinion, but I think this is one of the most hype moments of a regular run when you hear that Lower Norfair music start up and you make your way down to Ridley. Cool moment.
Most definitely. I know this is the most hype moment of an any percent run for me because I'm always worried about dying.
Looks like he just employed the new route, worst room in the game strat, just barely missed.
Yeah, it's definitely a really tight wall jump, especially since the timing of the iframes on the Space Pirates, you really don't have that long to set it up. And that jump is fairly precise, even with high jump boots.
Indeed. Okay, Rumble checking Mama Turtle and finding Speed Booster. So he'll be glad to find that. That's always one of those items that when I find it, I'm much, I feel a lot more relieved about the situation.
Yeah, I know. At that point, you don't have to ice clip through the entrance to Boss Moon. Sorry, I'm not knowledgeable on the name of that room.
Oh, the room right before Boss Moon.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, I can't remember what that's called either.
Probably something I should learn.
Actually, it's ironic that you said that because I need to give a shout out to Rumble. Rumble actually put together some information to try to help me learn all the room names a while back for the relay, and I was a poor student and didn't study hard enough.
The struggle. You should. Now you can't make fun of your kids for not studying.
I suppose not. But real quick, just so everybody knows, so far in this tournament, we've only had 2 sub 50 times. The first one, I believe, that occurred was by Stray at 49.42, and then later, Wild Anaconda eclipsed that one with a 49.29. I would be very surprised if Zoast didn't eclipse that in this run, assuming that he doesn't die.
Yeah, this right now to me is looking like it's gonna be a 43. I mean, it's possible it could be a 42, depending on how well he executes coming out of Lower Norfair.
Getting hit a few times here by Ridley. Probably only has a few shots to go here. Let's hope that he doesn't accidentally make any critical mistakes here. All right, very good.
I think we'll see him check this item, unless he gets like a lot of health here.
You think he might check for an E-Tank?
Yeah, I do.
I think that would be a smart call.
Yep.
Yeah.
100% correct.
And think about it this... Oh, go ahead, Menashe.
No, I was just going to say, it makes it to where he doesn't have to farm. He doesn't have to worry about dying. All of the enemies on the way out of this area, they hit you for 50 damage. So at 200 health, he could get hit 4 times and he was dead. It's just not worth that risk for the probably 12 seconds that it cost him to go check that item.
And see, that's the key. The point that I was going to make is that if you really think about this from a game theory point of view, this is not a traditional speed run, right? He's not trying to take the most risk possible to get the lowest time. He probably is aware that against most players, he's going to have massive edge in terms of his overall movement and speed, right? So the main thing the main way that he's probably going to lose, potentially against an inferior opponent is death, right?
Yeah, if he takes too big of a risk and it does not pay off, and by saying that I mean if he, I'm surprised we don't see a powerbomb there, but if he doesn't take that E-Tank and then he gets really bad Key Hunter patterns and takes 200 damage and dies, which we've seen it happen to some really good runners. We've seen it happen to floaters. We've seen it happen to lots of people.
Exactly. So he's basically playing the odds. The extra 12 seconds basically ensures that he will most likely, not have any trouble getting out of Lower Norfair.
Yeah, and he's not struggling at all moving through this section. It also gives him insurance against Mother Brain. If he takes a catch-up, he's not going to die. He'll still be fine. This is a phenomenal run, though. See Rumble taking down Dragon. He's moving through. Looks like I think he elected to skip that item as well. So he realizes he's in full go and he needs to get there as quickly as he can. I'm sure he knows that Zoast is probably at least where he is, since the items weren't in any kind of convoluted location. They were all very straightforward for this seed.
Yeah, we really need to point out that Rumble is playing well, actually. It's just that most players, in comparison to watching somebody like of Zo's caliber play, it's just really difficult to keep up. And if I were Rumble playing this seed, I would have been as soon as I saw where Gravity and Varia were, I probably would have been like, I almost have no chance, because the only way to really get ahead of a much better player is if you find one of those suits first in some crazy location that they didn't check, and that didn't happen here.
Yeah, so honestly, for Rumble right here, he's on pace for a very quick time. I could see this being like a Hall of Fame run for like. I'm not saying he's guaranteed to lose at this point, but Zoast is in a very good position, and I think Rumble's in like a sub. It's probably like a 55, maybe even less than that, which would definitely qualify for like a very fast run to have lost the race, which is insane.
Exactly.
I mean, whenever you think about somebody getting a 55, that's a fantastic time. Like a fantastic time. You don't think of that as a losing time. Yeah, we do see Zoast. He'll probably going to skip the ship. He has no need to take it. His ammo counts are fine.
Yeah, he's in a better spot, like right this second, than most any percent on route runs.
Exactly. These are two very, very good runners, and they're both putting up fantastic times here. Very, very clean execution. We see Rumble heading into Lower Norther as expected, and Zoast is about to hit Torian.
And for anybody who's not familiar with the randomizer, you'll notice that there is no wait for the G4 cutscene. So he's straight down the elevator, and let's see what he can pump out here.
Definitely. There are some really cool changes in the randomizer. One of my favorites is no wait for G4. One of the scariest the first time seeing it was no wait for Mother Brain.
Yeah.
Like, the first time I saw that, I was just like, oh my gosh.
And while Zoast making his way through the second Metroid room, Rumble is getting his, looks like his gravity jump prepared here. And nailed it on the second try there. Good job. And the Metroid's in a very giving mood. He's full on missiles and super missiles. So basically, if he gets the Metroid, the baby skip, he'll just be straight down, kill Mother Brain, and then 20 plasma or 20 charge shots should take care of it. Otherwise, if he gets grabbed, he'll just have to refill on the health. But we are looking at a very, very possible #1 time in this tournament so far by a long shot if he's able to finish this. Very nice baby skip.
Textbook, some would say.
And he got the spring ball swag in there too.
Oh, got it. I got it up.
Rumble making the choice to check screw attack. I don't blame him at all for checking that, because sometimes, you know, especially when you're maybe the underdog, you want to check some items that you feel like the other runner might not. But unfortunately, I only found an E-tank in there, and now is trying to infinite bomb jump out of the room.
Yeah, his energy was a little bit low too, so that could have been a proponent of why he wanted to go check that item. He knew that he could refill at the E-tank refill and possibly find a good item.
Yeah, that's a great point. Zoast does not have enough, or doesn't have enough energy or a number of energy tanks to do the stand-up glitch here, so he will simply finish Mother Brain 2 off here, get his health down to 3 energy tanks worth, and we'll go through the cutscene here.
And umbilical cord her.
Yeah. Swaggy grapple.
Yeah. He angled down instead of up, but it's I didn't know that was a thing until I saw people do it in Randomizer.
Rumble making his way over to the worst room in the game. Let's see what kind of strat he employs here with the current items that he has.
Yeah. You see him wall jump off, or is he gonna? Okay, he does kill it.
Yeah, he just killed all the pirates there, and now he's just got to get a power bomb up there and then find the right spot to jump up there.
Yeah, there's a nice indicator mark there that you can jump off of. And you see him get it very quickly, so that's good.
But again, not to belabor the point, but it just kind of goes without saying, I'm not surprised to see Zoast do so well in this run, but this has been a very, very well executed run. You know, not just anybody's going to walk into one of these randomizers and pop out like a 42 or a 43, so well done by him so far.
Yeah, his routing decisions were fantastic. He got paid off for going to the early wreck ship. He found gravity suit there, which I think that's like a 30%er based off of the math to find a suit there. So I mean, it's kind of a high risk play, but at the same time, as long as you don't get hosed by an item being at the reserve tank location, it's a worthwhile play. In the event that you don't have speed booster and gravity suit or Varia is sitting behind that reserve location, you're going to lose a lot of time because you have to sit through bowling 3-0 twice.
Exactly. I've had to do that before. It's never fun.
No, that's not a pleasant thing.
And, you know, people in chat mentioned this, and I wholeheartedly agree. You know, Rumble has ran a very good race.
Mm-hmm.
He's just up against, you know, one of the best players in the world, and that's how it goes sometimes.
Yeah, this is a great run from Rumble. We're gonna see, I mean, maybe a 55 or a 56 based off of where he's at right now, I think. I mean, he's got Ridley, and then he just needs to head to Torian, so it could even be a little bit less than that. But yeah, we're gonna see a 43 from Zoast here, probably, is what it looks like, which is completely insane. Like a 43 is.
We'll see if he chooses to save the Earth. Kill the animals. Kill the animals.
I don't think the animals have long for this world.
Wow, look at that.
40. Wow. I'm not in the Speedruns live channel, but based off of, I mean, his in-game timer, that's Zoast finishing at a 43:11, which is a phenomenal time, by far the fastest time in the tournament so far.
GG to Zoast. And Rumble now facing Ridley. And ladies and gentlemen, you have managed to witness the #1 run so far in this randomizer tournament. Okay, so once again, sorry about that issue with the echo. I think we're working to get it sorted out here, but in the meantime, I'm going to keep on making commentary here on Rumble's run. So Rumble now has managed to defeat all of the G4 bosses and will be heading to Torian, and shouldn't have any issues, you know, in terms of going to Torian. He's got Ice Beam, he's got Speed Booster, all of the old route beams. So I would assume that Rumble will make relatively short work of Torian. Again, you know, it's just one of those things. Rumble is running a very nice rando right now, but is up against Zoast, and Zoast just completely annihilated that randomizer. Just kind of one of those situations where every decision that Zoast made turned out to be a very strong one, and he was able to use his superior movement to have a very fast time. So congratulations to him on the 43, almost a 42 there. Excellent run there. As Feasel just mentioned in chat, we will be having the second game of this series immediately after Rumble finishes his run. So don't go anywhere, stick around. We've got a lot more great Super Metroid Randomizer tournament action for you. This is actually kind of interesting in terms of the missile and super missile counts. This is kind of the inverse of what you might see in an old route 80% run. Most of the time in 80% old route, you know, Kraid, Fantoon, Dragon, Ridley, you will see 20 regular missiles and 10 supers, but occasionally if a runner accidentally messes up at mode or something like that, you might see him pick up a 5th missile tank. So 25-10 is something that can happen from time to time. Here we have the opposite. We have 10 missiles and 25 supers. But again, that's really overkill for this situation, especially given the beams. I don't think Rumble would opt to use super missiles on the Mother Brain anyway.
Well, the nice thing is that super missiles actually are a little bit higher DPS than charging up a full shot.
Oh, the super missiles are?
Yeah, they each do 300, and you can crank them out. I think you can crank out like 3.5 or 4 in the time that it takes to charge up a full shot.
My assumption would be, yeah, because you get 900 damage per charged, Ice Wave Plasma shot. So that would be exactly equal to 3 supers. My assumption would be that the only way that supers would be faster is if you got them like perfectly timed. But I'm sure it's probably roughly the same.
Yeah, it's probably pretty close. Very, very close.
Usually in this scenario, though, I just opt to go ahead and use the beam because, like I've done hundreds and hundreds of any percent runs. I haven't done very many runs where I had to super mother brain. So a lot of times I just kind of opt for comfort.
That's very fair. I know frequently I'll just use supers. I mean, obviously, if I have some like terrible beam that's like 100 shots to kill Mother Brain, I'll use like 15 supers for the last bit if I have them.
Yeah, that's a great point.
But that is not the case here. Here they can do whatever they want. 900 damage with a Clark Charge Plasma or a super. It's up to them. We see a nice Kojak right there. 2 Kojaks in a row.
I'd have to actually look up. I'm not really sure what the fastest refresh rate is on a super. I know it's significantly less than regular missiles.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not exactly sure what the optimal refresh is on those.
I don't know either.
It's probably something we can look up during the break.
Player's guide here, but I don't think it'll tell me.
Let me grab my Nintendo Power real quick.
We're gonna see a baby skip out of Rumble right here. Looks like he's gonna take some damage, so I don't expect to, but. As we've said before, fantastic run coming out of Rumble here. I mean, this is a sub 1 hour run, which they're not the easiest thing to get. Facing right, saving those 40 frames. Greatly appreciated.
Reflecting on the past and then moving to the future. Okay, it looks like super missiles have a cooldown of 19 frames. I believe that the cooldown, I'm gonna have to double check this, but I believe the cooldown on charge is less. I think it's 15.
But you have to also factor in the amount of time it takes to charge a shot.
Exactly. So I bet it's like very, very close.
Yeah, I don't
difference.
I don't know how long it takes to charge a shot, but I feel like it's at least a second. If not a second and a half, which would be the time of like 5 or 6 super missiles. Like at 4, or sorry, at 1 second we're talking about 5 supers per charge shot, and at 1.5 seconds we're talking about 7. So I think that still puts it at a little bit higher. Yeah. We have some chat people saying it's about a second.
Yeah, Fuzda just made the point that he says, and I think it's funny because the other day some people on the Super Metro Discord basically said if Fuzda says it, then it's got to be true, right? If you can do perfectly optimal charge shots, then supers and charge will be about identical, but it's hard to do perfect charge shots, so supers are probably a little bit better.
Yeah, that makes sense. Fuzda is fairly good at this video game. I know from experience.
Yeah, I think we'd be remiss mentioning Fuzda and not talking about one of the most impressive moments so far in this randomizer was when Fuzda nailed, it was either 11 or 12 Dopplers on Fantoon.
It's 11 or 12 in a single round?
Yeah,
like,
have you not seen it?
I missed that one.
Yeah, you need to go look it up. It was very impressive.
Oh man, that's insane.
So Rumble now, we're about to have to say goodbye to the baby Metroid here. And then Rumble will grab the Rainbow Beam and finish off Mother Brain 3 before making his exit. But again, as Menashne pointed out earlier, it can't be understated that Rumble has really performed quite well in this seed, and really any time under an hour for most players is going to be a very solid time. I'm trying to wrap my head around like performing well and about to get a sub-hour time, and then looking at SRL and seeing that your opponent finished like 12 or 13 minutes ago. Like that's just got to be a bad feeling.
It can't feel that bad for Rumble here though, because going into this, he knew who he was going up against.
That's true.
I mean, it can't be understated that Zoast is he's easily considered one of the best Super Metroid players, if not the best. His execution is dang near perfect. Like Rumble putting up a time even remotely close is phenomenal.
That's true. In fact, the fastest loss currently of this entire tournament is a 57:34, and unless Rumble, makes a mistake, like a really bad mistake, or decides to kind of goof around and, save/kill the animals here at the end, it's very possible that he ends up taking that spot.
Yeah, it's kind of what I was saying earlier, is that this is a very, very good run from Rumble, and it's easily Hall of Fame for fastest loss. But yeah, he's gonna have a low 57.
Let's put it this way: if I ran his time in this seed, I would be very pleased.
Yes, I would be happy.
And also, I want to give big props to him for finishing. I think there's a lot of respect there to go ahead and finish the run, regardless of the outcome. GG Rumble. Ladies and gentlemen, match number 1 of this matchup between Rumble and Zoast. And we have already seen the fastest time ran in the tournament overall and the fastest loss. An absolutely incredible performance by both players.
Yeah, great run by both of our players here. Definitely make sure to follow both of these runners. Zoasty and Rumbleminze are both great to watch. And Cheaty Face.
Yeah, got to give a shout out to Cheaty for doing our tracking tonight. Thank you very much, Cheaty Face.
It's greatly appreciated. It takes a lot of pressure off of us as commentators, not having to worry about keeping track of both of the runners' items, because sometimes if you just like glance to one side for a second, you'll miss a runner picking something up, and it can be challenging to keep that tracker updated easily.
Absolutely. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we will have the second matchup between Rumble and Zoast here in just a few minutes. Menashne and I are going to take a very short break, but stick around. We got more great Super Metroid action for you in just a moment. Be right back. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we are getting ready for match number 2 between Rumble and Zoast. Once again, my name is Southern Kip, and I will be providing the commentary for you for the second race, as well as my co-commentator, Menashne, who will return here in just a moment. I want to take just a second to review the schedule of the upcoming days so that everybody is aware of what all is happening. This should be the last race for tonight, but tomorrow, on Tuesday, August the 8th, we will have game 1 of Lil Dingus and Elminster, which is a round 2 matchup that will begin at 4:30 Eastern Time and should be currently scheduled for the Speed Gaming channel. And then later we will have Feral 5X versus Alucard 2004. And I think we will also have CFB versus Cross Product, which should be game 3 of a great series that has been going on so far. That one is split 1-1. We will see the conclusion of that. That's a round 1 matchup. And I believe also Leno and Flop will be playing, as well as Maniacal and Garbanzo Guy. So we basically, tomorrow from about 4:30 Eastern all the way until about 11 p.m. Eastern, we'll have just an afternoon and evening filled with a bunch of great races. So make sure to come and check that out as well.
It's been a very nice thing about this tournament is that we have so much Super Metroid being played. If you miss any of it, definitely go back and watch it because all of these runs have been fantastic.
For sure. And I think it kind of goes without saying, everybody that hangs around in our community, just a bunch of truly excellent people, very friendly. We've got great, friendly competition, and this game is so rewarding because it's so challenging. So I hope everybody comes and watches as many of these tournament matchups as possible. We have a lot of really great, veteran and up-and-coming players who are displaying a lot of skill, and it's been a lot of fun to watch everybody.
Most definitely. But yeah, it looks like our runners are just trying to get everything set up, loading up onto their. I think both these guys are on SD to SNESs. I know Zoasty is. Rumble, I believe, is as well. Which, that's a fantastic piece of hardware.
Yeah, I
And
recently got mine.
Yes, I think I got mine about the exact same time as yours, and it's so much better.
Yeah, I can't. Again, everybody's kind of just has to do it in whatever way they see fit. But for me personally, I do not regret that investment at all. As soon as I got my SD2 at SNES, I was able to, I think, really improve at a much faster rate than I had before. So definitely the best video game purchase I've made in a long, long time.
Yeah, the funny thing is I think both me and Kip were both playing on Wii U Virtual Console, which I think is the worst possible thing you could play this game on. Honestly.
That's what I've been told. Yeah, I was told that. I don't know if it's for certain, but I had forgotten that we were Wii U brothers.
I think we were the only two who were playing on Wii U.
We've made a slight upgrade since then. I've gone from Wii U on an LCD to Super Nintendo on a CRT, so a little bit better, a little bit easier.
I am currently in that same boat. The only thing that's a little different for me is I'm currently waiting for my OSSC. And then after that, I get to go back to LCD. Which I'm very much looking forward to.
Yeah, keep me posted on that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, looks like we have Zoast and Rumble getting set up here for their next race, so I would imagine that they will get started here in the next couple of minutes.
Yeah, we do have one very interesting difference here early on. We see Rumble playing with English text and Zoasty playing with Japanese text. We're going to see how that plays out for the two runners.
Just out of curiosity, I've never even thought about it. I've never changed mine. Do people just do it for fun?
It's 100% for the lulz.
That's pretty funny. All right.